Hi everyone, and welcome to my 30-day coding challenge where I'll try to learn to code a fully functioning website in 30 days. This was day 22, so let's just review what I did today. Right, this was supposed to be the last day of my backend web development journey where I was learning the language called Golang. And today I finished it. This was my fifth or sixth day of Golang. It's hard to keep track now, but I really enjoyed learning it. And as I mentioned yesterday, I was going to look for a different resource to basically refresh the knowledge of whatever I've learned so far in Golang. So I found a good full Golang tutorial again. It's one of the YouTube channels called Tech World with Nana. It's quite a simple, basic tutorial which covers most of the concept of Golang. They do not go into more advanced concepts such as concurrency, Go routines, or mutex. So they just covered a simple basic concepts which would be helpful for anyone who is trying to develop a simple REST API on their local host. That means on their own laptop. So I found that program quite interesting, and they kept things quite simple. So it felt like the other program that I was doing, they were going much more into the details and depth, where it felt a little bit confusing at times. And that's how it's supposed to be. If you're building a robust web and application, then you would have to follow those steps. But if you're building something simple, something um, I wouldn't say trivial, but something that can be easily deployed and doesn't have a lot of functionalities, it doesn't have a lot of algorithm, then I highly recommend to go through this course. It's called Full Golang Tutorial, Learn Go by Building a To-Do List app, which was quite good. I really enjoyed it. It also reinforces all the learnings that I have had so far in Golang, and also gave me a little bit more confidence while I was making this app, as you can see on the screen. However, there were a few times where I had to debug and use ChatGPT. But the good thing is with this course that I discovered is a new IDE. It's called Goland, which is specifically for this language. It's built for this language. And what good thing with this IDE is it's auto completes your code. It understands what sort of functions you're trying to write. So it completes those functions. I guess it would be quite similar to other AI-based IDEs such as Cursor or Claude Code. I haven't looked into them, but I'm guessing it's quite similar to that. And since it is specifically built for Go language, I believe it's quite good. If anyone's trying to learn Go, I believe they would have to start with it, or at least once they get some knowledge of the syntax, once they get some knowledge of the packages that it has, the internal packages, then they will definitely should switch to Goland IDE, and that would make their life much more easier. The debugging was quite smooth, and basically it also has a built-in terminal, so you do not have to open your terminal every time when you're doing in VS Code. And it also shows you a lot of other things in terms of when you're making a local host in your own server, then it has a tab which can show you directly how your API or how your messaging is gonna look like onto that onto the web page. So I really enjoyed it. So if you are trying to tinker with Go, I highly recommend to download this Goland IDE. That would make your life much more easier. Well, so that's pretty much it for from Go's perspective. I really enjoyed the language. Yeah, I wish I had more time to explore, but I guess I'd have to move on to something new if I were to manage to build a website in next 8-9 days. So as per the plan, now my plan is to learn briefly about database query language, but I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to do that because there are a few alternatives which would help you host, or which would help you to make your database at a really at a very less effort in compared to either PostgreSQL or SQL. So there's one database called Superbase, which handles a lot of these critical operations such as authentications and making your database instances quite easily. So I'm going to probably take a look at that option as well, so that I do not have to uh, sort of go into and learn another language which involves another type of syntax, just to avoid the confusion that is going to create, because I'm already in last 3 weeks or so, I have learned about JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and then Go. And if I were to introduce another language to the mix, I guess that's going to be a little bit too much. However, I will decide tomorrow. I'll do some more research in terms of how it looks like, what Superbase actually is. I do not have any idea. I've just looked into like few articles and few resources on the web which recommends, like, if you do not have time or if you do not have knowledge of other database query languages, they would recommend to go Superbase, because that's where most of the development is happening these days, which does not require as much effort as with other database query language such as SQL or Postgres or Oracle. So that's one option that I'm going to be exploring definitely tomorrow, and I'll keep you posted like what I will eventually decide. If it feels like Postgres or SQL will not involve a lot of effort for me to at least make a simple database or at least learn a few simple syntax so that I can connect it with my backend development, then I would probably go with Postgres route. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead with Superbase. So that's gonna I'll decide it tomorrow. Right. So that's pretty much it from myself. Thank you very much again for tuning in today. And if you have any feedback, please feel free to put it in comments. And as usual, if you can subscribe to the channel or give me a like, that would really give me more inspiration to put out this content. And again, almost a week left for you to see what would I be capable of building on my own. And yeah, having said that, like, I haven't explored the other IDE options such as Cloud or Codex or Cursor. So probably one day within the next few days, I would have to invest in researching like which one is the best option and probably pick one. And hopefully that would make my life much more easier in terms of like connecting everything, front end, back end, database at one place, because right now I do not have a lot of experience or even knowledge about how everything works in tandem in together. So that's still to be seen. Wish me luck. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you tomorrow.